We are back to the Mother-Daughter Disney podcast. Welcome back, everyone. My name is Amanda. I'm here with my very lovely mother.
Hi, I'm Janette.
Yes, and so we're super excited for today's episode because we're rounding off our top 5 rides in the Disney parks with Animal Kingdom. So super excited to get into this. So just for a quick fun disclaimer that we often do before our podcast is that we both love Disney so much. We've been going to Disney for many years now. I hope that you'll have the chance to listen to some of our other podcast episodes. Again, we have done our top 5 rides in all the other parks as well. So Animal Kingdom is our final one here. But of course, if your favorite ride did not make our top 5 list or is not our number one, again, everyone does Disney differently. These are just our opinions, just for fun, just to, chit chat more about Disney. But yeah, so let's just jump right into it. We did a short intro today. So.
Okay.
Although, wait, you said you don't have 5, right?
I don't have 5. A lot of the rides on Animal Kingdom I can't go on because I get motion sickness. So I can't, I would never do the river rapids. That would make me dizzy, first of all, going round and round.
You don't really spend that
and
much
getting
on it.
wet. Don't want to be wet. So I don't like that. But my favorite ride of any park.
Wait, hold on, wait. We're going to start with number 5.
Oh, we're going to start with number 5? Yeah, I don't have a 5, so you can go with 5.
That's how we did the other ones. We started with 5. Okay. But yeah, that's what I was saying because you said you had 4, right? So
yes.
All right, so I do
I really only have 2, but I can stretch it out to 4.
Yeah, because if you listen to our Hollywood Studios one, you will have noticed that when we did our top 5, my mom, I think, had 2 for that one, and I just did my top 5. But also, when we were talking as well before, when we were talking about the rides in general, we both realized that there actually aren't that many rides in Animal Kingdom. Like, Animal Kingdom is a very show-heavy type of park, not too ride-heavy, especially with the, them taking, I guess, redoing Dino Land USA. They took down a few rides. So yeah, I thought that was interesting because I didn't even realize how few rides there were in Animal Kingdom. But in my number 5 spot, I have the dinosaur ride. So yeah, I put Dinosaur as 5 because I do really like Dinosaur. I think Dinosaur is a very fun ride. I think Dinosaur is a great ride too because it's very much a thrill ride, but without being a roller coaster at the same time. Like, it does throw you around a lot. Like, it's definitely
but
like
it does
an
not
intense
make
ride.
You dizzy.
Well, it doesn't make you dizzy. I would imagine it makes some people dizzy.
It could make some people
it does throw you around a lot. I will say though, this ride is not for the faint of heart. It is a very scary ride in that sense. And even as an adult, I do still get scared when I go on the ride. The ride is almost completely in the dark. The only times you ever see light is the lights that are on the dinosaurs themselves when you sort of see the dinosaurs. Again, I don't want to do too many spoilers in this necessarily, but yeah, the idea is that you're kind of going back in time to visit the dinosaurs. And so when you go back in time, of course, the dinosaurs, their lives unfortunately did end due to a meteor shower. And so you're there right during the meteor shower. And so again, you get thrown around a lot. It's very dark. It's very intense in that sense. And so because of that, I used to be very scared of it when I was younger. I have actually screamed out loud because of fear on this ride before. And I normally don't scream out of fear. It's very rare for me to scream out of fear, especially on on roller coasters I scream for fun because I'm having fun. But in this ride, I remember screaming out of pure fear because I was that scared on this ride. So we
didn't even go when you were really, really young.
Yeah.
We waited until you guys were older to go.
But yeah, so if you want to go on this ride, I would definitely say, and you have like little ones or people who or maybe are scared of the dark or something like that in your family, or maybe you just don't like to be thrown around that much on a ride, I would definitely have a friend or family member go on first, let you know how it is and see if you'll be able to handle it because it is a bit more of an intense ride. So, all right, let's do your number 4 now next.
Well, I don't really have a number 4. I would say that, I don't know, I guess I'll put Navi River. I've actually never seen the movie. But
my mom was talking about Navi River Journey, which is in Pandora, the Avatar movie.
Okay, I've never seen the Avatar movie. But I have to tell you that I guess Navi would be the 4th, because if you want a pleasant little ride, it is a pleasant little ride. It's not worth the wait for me to stand on a big long line to go on it. But it was very interesting to see the how they did it. It's very colorful. It's very imaginative. It's very soothing when you're going through and seeing the Navi River ride. So I'd say that would be a ride that if it wasn't a big, gigantic, long line, I would go on it.
Yeah, so Navi River Journey is also my number 4 as well, because I do really like the overall ride itself. And it's funny too when you say how peaceful and how lovely it is to see it brought to life, because that is what the movie is. So again, of course, you're supposed to be, on Pandora through the foresty type section is the first Avatar movie. Of course, the second Avatar movie, Way of Water, that's when you go to the coral reef people. I think that ride would have been so cool if they did the coral reef people. I think just because I think underwater is just so fascinating to me. So seeing their world underwater to me in the movie was absolutely fascinating. More so that I guess I'm more of a water person than a foresty type person, I suppose, in that sense. But yeah, but I do like the ride a lot. It's fun to see the shaman also at the end as well singing. I think that's really cool how they really brought to life one of the Avatar people like that. And yeah, if it wasn't for the long line for such a short ride, like water ride, I think that's the main struggle struggle. So I wonder if in the future, if they end up opening more rides in Animal Kingdom, if the line for that goes down, then we'll be more inclined to start going on that ride more. Because yeah, as of right now, we are not waiting an hour to an hour and a half to go. on the
No,
Navi River
no, I would
ride.
not wait, but as a ride itself, it actually
It's
is a
very nice,
very
yeah.
nice ride. Even if you have never seen Avatar like me, it is a very nice ride.
Yeah, so yeah, I do like it. I wish we would have been able to go on it when Ted was with us, but again, we waited a long time for another ride, so we'll get to that. So, all right, what is your number 3 then?
Dinosaur.
You put number 3, yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
number 3 is Dinosaur. I think it's fun. It's a fun ride. Like I said, it bounces you around a lot. You have to. I'm usually hanging on, but it is a very, very fun ride.
Yeah, no, again, I like Dinosaur a lot. I think it's super fun. I hope they don't ever take it away, but I don't know.
I don't know. Lately, there has not been long lines for that, which I thought
Yeah,
was
there
very
hasn't
funny. There was times when we used to wait so long, or we'd have to get fast passes for it. It would be one of the ones in Animal Kingdom that we would do a fast pass for.
Actually, what I would be up for, and this is a bit controversial, so anyone who loves Dinosaur, I apologize. I would love if they re-themed Dinosaur to something else. So, for instance, in Disneyland, the ride structure of what Dinosaur is, like when you're in that little car that kind of jerks you around, that's the Indiana Jones ride in Disneyland.
Oh, okay.
And I remember when we went on that was so much fun. And it just recently reopened. It was closed for a while there for refurbishment and just recently reopened, which is not great. Yeah, I remember that being so much fun to go on that ride in Disneyland. And I thought the theming was super fun of like, Indiana Jones. I haven't seen the Indiana Jones movies in years now. But yeah, but I wonder if they would ever re-theme Dinosaur to something else.
Well, I could see that because we're not big dinosaur fans. I mean,
Yeah, we're
it's not
not.
like any of us were. Even Luke my son was never really a big dinosaur fan. So I could see that because like I said, the ride is fun. You're
the ride
running,
is super fun,
like you
yeah.
said, it's in the dark. It's like all these flashings and scenes and things going on, and it just keeps you entertained the whole time you're on the ride.
Yeah. And I always wondered too, because I feel like there's always rumors and things going around if they were ever going to re-theme Dino Land USA. Because I mean, like,
Yeah, that's a lot of property that now they have
Yeah.
that they could really do
'cause
something with.
out of all of the lands in Animal Kingdom, I do think Dino Land USA is the lowest ranked one.
Yeah.
so sorry to anyone who's a fan of Dino Land
it's
USA.
very
but-
outdated. It's very
Yeah, I don't dislike
Yeah.
it. I do like Dino Land USA, but out of the other lands, I just don't think it's as great as the other lands.
Right.
Like the Asia land, amazing. Africa, absolutely amazing. Pandora,
Yeah, they could do a
amazing.
lot more with that property.
Yeah, Dino Land USA is just not as strong as the other lands for sure. So I wonder if they're ever going to do anything of it. Of course, we know that Primeval Whirl or
That little roller
Yeah, the little
coaster.
like mouse.
Yeah, I used to go
roller
on that
coaster.
all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, like I forget exactly what those types of coasters
Yeah.
are called, but it's like they kind of they spin you around a little bit when you're up top there.
Whips you around, and those little sharp turns.
Yeah. So I mean, like that ride closed a long time ago, and then they
Yeah.
fully took it down. Like it's literally not even there anymore. It's just blank land.
No,
so I
that's
always,
what I mean. There's a lot of land they can do stuff with
yeah.
there.
So I always wonder what they'll do with the land if they're ever going to retheme it or whatever. But I know a lot of people do love Dino Land USA. Again, I'm not saying I dislike Dino Land USA. I just
Right.
wonder what they're going to do with it. So yeah. All right. In my number 3, that was your number 3, right? Was that? Yeah.
Yep.
So my number 3, I have Flight of Passage. So Flight of Passage is the other Pandora ride. My mom just calls it, I think, the Pandora ride.
I
in
call it
general.
Pandora.
Yeah, because we'll never really go on that ride when we go into Pandora, but it's a formally called Flight of Passage. So absolutely love Flight of Passage. I think that is a really great ride. I remember when we first went on that ride, my mom, there were a lot of people who were getting motion sickness on Flight of Passage. So my dad and I went on it first. We waited
Right.
2 hours in line for it. I remember the people in front of us, he was actually watching the movie on his phone as we waited on line. Then watched almost the full movie as we waited on the line. And then I remember after my dad and I went on it, we were like, oh yeah, mom could definitely do this. Like it's not that intense. So I would say if you could do, for instance, like if you could do Soarin', you could probably do
Well, that's
this
the thing
ride.
is that I know people who cannot go on it because it's 3D.
Yeah, it's
and
3D
it does
and it's-
make them dizzy to be on 3D.
Yeah, and it mimics you being sort of like soaring, that you're very up high. So if you're
Right,
scared
up
of
high,
heights,
and you're looking at this
yeah.
3D screen. So the worst that could happen in that is you just close your eyes.
Yeah. So, and again, sometimes if you can get a seat in like the middle of the screen, that often helps people with motion sickness
Right.
because like you don't have like the little bend, on the end of the screens or something. But yeah, I love Flight of Passage. I think it's a really great ride. I do think it's worth the wait to a certain extent. Like if we were going to wait 2 hours for a ride, Flight of Passage is a pretty good one to do, honestly, because it is quite fun. It's very different, I think. Again, you're in the world of Avatar, of course, but even so, just the idea of flying like that on the back of a banshee or Ikran, as the Avatar people call it. Yeah, I think that's just like so incredible, just to kind of pretend that that's real for a second, that you actually can fly on an animal like that, if an animal like that even existed in our real world that we could go, fly on the back of. It's almost like riding a horse that could fly or something like that. So yeah, absolutely so much fun. I really do love Flight of Passage. I always wonder too if they're ever going to add another ride to Pandora, like the overall Pandora world, if they'd ever add anything else. But
it's a very popular world. So
that's what I'm saying, because the movies are popular, the rides are popular,
and the new
obviously.
movie just came out, so maybe they'll, you never know.
Yeah.
Took them so long to build that one, though.
I know.
Who knows?
Well, think about how large it is, how immersive it is, like how much.
But it
money
was
took.
years. They kept talking about building it and building it and building it, and then
Worth it. So, all right, what is your number 2 then?
Mine is Pandora.
Yeah, it's Flight of Passage.
Yes.
That's what I thought.
Well,
All right.
Like I said, for my reasons for Flight of Passage like I said, I did send you on first because I do tend to get motion sickness very easily. That's why Everest doesn't make my list. I went on Everest once, did not know what was going on. It was going so fast. But the second time I went on, my mind knew what was going to happen, and I got nauseous. So I can't do that. I can't do anything that goes upside down, backwards, whatever. So I went on Pandora. Pandora to me is just exciting. It was just so exciting. I think it's so amazing how they make you feel while they're doing it, that I think it is amazing to watch that and just feel that movement going up and down. And I find it exciting. So that's my second.
No, for sure. And then I know you have a favorite part of the ride. What's your favorite part of the ride?
Oh, my favorite part is going under the wave.
Yeah, the wave. Yeah, I do think the wave is really cool.
Going under that wave is just my favorite. It's something I'm never going to get to do in my lifetime. And that's my whole idea about this with Animal Kingdom on a whole, is that there are things in Animal Kingdom that I will never do in my lifetime. I will never get on a surfboard and go under that wave like that. And the whole thing that I get to see what it's like to go under that wave is just amazing to me.
Yeah. My favorite part is when it's sort of towards the end. They do it a few times, but it's when you're up very high and the Banshee just jumps straight down and you just fly straight down.
Yes.
And then like it swoops up. I think that's my favorite because I love that feeling of that idea of like falling straight down and swooping up. And that seems really fun to me. So that's my favorite part of Flight of Passage.
It's a cool ride.
Yeah. All right, so that was your number 2, right? All right, so my number 2 is Expedition Everest. So again, as my mom just said, she does get motion sickness on Expedition Everest because it does go backwards. So yeah, so if you can't go on a ride that goes backwards, I would suggest not going on Expedition Everest. Do not get sick, please. However, I think Everest is such an amazing roller coaster. I would argue to say this is my favorite roller coaster of all of the roller coasters I've ever been on. And the reason for that is because the theming of this roller coaster is just absolutely phenomenal. First of all, when you're walking through the queue, I think the queue is actually pretty good too. And I'm very picky when it comes to my line queues, but I do think the queue is very good. While it can be very long, you're sort of going through, you know, just like sometimes like Tibetan type gardens. When you do get indoors, you see a lot of the expeditions that the Disney teams actually went on when they went to the Himalayas to actually go see Mount Everest themselves. You actually see the photos that they took, the artifacts that they brought back, the notes that they had, the people that they met, the stories that they learned, the equipment that they used. You actually see all of that stuff.
I remember that, yes.
Yeah, and I just think that is absolutely incredible. I know at one point or another, this was considered the most expensive roller coaster in history to make because of all those expeditions the Disney team had to go on for them to go and do the research to come back and, recreate it here. So I don't know if it still is the current most expensive roller coaster, but I know it's definitely up there. And I'm sure it definitely is still up there, just the amount of money that they spent just to not only build the roller coaster, but also the land immediately around it. Since, of course, this roller coaster is an extension of the Asia land within Animal Kingdom. So, I mean, like, even just walking up to it, you see the signs of, like, beware of the Yeti. Like, what is the Yeti? The different flags that they have, around that are actually there that I just think it's absolutely amazing. And I think Animal Kingdom, too, in that sense, that is the best part of Animal Kingdom is all those details around the overall park itself, especially because a lot of these details are the cultural details that you would see in these countries. You'd see in Asia or in Africa.
On. Yes.
Yeah, and I think that's absolutely amazing. It's, again, kind of similar to why I love the World Showcase in that sense, too, just that immersiveness and, seeing all those details. It's just my absolute favorite thing. And then you got Dinoland USA.
Right.
Not to make fun of Dinoland USA, but it is drastically different from like when you walk from Expedition Everest over to Dinoland USA.
Which again points out how people do everything differently.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some people who are just going for the thrill and just going through the ride going, yeah, okay, it's a line. Yeah, it's entertaining. You go. We tend to get more into the details.
Yeah, into the story. It's like, that's what I'm here for, is a story. Because you can go to any theme park in the U.S. and go on a big roller coaster and have fun.
Right.
I can go to Six Flags for that. Six Flags has way more thrilling roller coasters
and closer
than Disney does. Right? Well, yeah, there's one in New Jersey. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is you can always just go on a roller coaster. But you are not going to be told a story from the moment you walk into that land to the moment you get get online to the moment you sit
Yes.
down in your seat, when you're actually on the ride itself, you know, when you're going up, when you see the ripped out, you know, the ripped out, I don't know, track, when you go backwards and stuff like that, it's like, that's what I'm here for. I feel like
Right.
that is what Disney does best. That's when Disney is at its peak. It's when it's providing you not just a fun experience, but a full immersive story
Yes,
that you
the
can
details.
just, you know, lose yourself in and just have fun in. But yeah, absolutely love Expedition Everest. That was a huge rant and gush over Everest, but I do just really love Everest overall as an overall ride.
I said I liked
So,
it the one time I went on it. Unfortunately, I can't do it again.
I would say the only other roller coaster that comes close to beating Everest would probably be Space Mountain, but that is partially for nostalgia's sake as well, for that classic type of like Disney ride for Space Mountain. But yeah, otherwise though, it's definitely Everest. I feel like they're very tied though. So all right, and then what is your? I imagine we both had the same number
Oh
one.
God, the one that's left, the safari.
Yeah, Kilimanjaro,
The Kilimanjaro
Safari.
safaris.
Yep, so that's both of our number ones.
I go to Animal Kingdom Park just for Kilimanjaro safaris. And we have done that. We've had to pick Amanda up at the airport, and my husband and I have gone to Animal Kingdom in the morning to go to Kilimanjaro safaris. I love it. To me, I'm not going to Africa. It's just not going to be in the cards for me. But I got to tell you, it is the one time that I can ride around and feel like I'm really out there. For me, it's a little bit of nostalgia. My father, his dream was to be on an African safari. Our house was decorated with things from Africa. It was just it just brings back such memories for me with my dad. Just even going to the Bronx Zoo and trying to see all the African animals and just seeing the animals up close. The giraffes are my favorite, and when they come right past that truck, I am just in my glory. I just love it. I just absolutely love seeing them. I love looking for all the animals. There are sometimes you go and it's okay, and then sometimes you go and you see every animal up close, and it's so exciting to me.
Yeah, no, I definitely second all of that. That's why I love the safari so much, because every time you go on it, it's going to be a little bit different. You're going to see animals in different positions. By that, I mean like they could be sleeping, they could be awake, you know, they could be walking around or something like that. Or maybe they're like hanging out with each other. One time we saw like the wild dogs, I think, like playing with each other, which is very cute. So yeah, every time you go on it, it's always going to be different. And yeah, I love seeing all the animals up close like that, because yeah, there's, other than I suppose when you go to a zoo and you see them, you know, behind a
They're
cage,
behind
so to
bars.
speak.
Yeah, you see them and you can see the detail of them, but you don't see them in their own
Yeah,
environment.
it's a bit different when you're like riding through their land. So
I
to
mean, we
speak.
got stuck on it once, and we were there for a long time. The zebras were running crazy, and we think it was because the baby zebra
Yeah,
was
so
out,
our-
and the mothers would, the parent zebras were doing something. And then, of course, the driver of the truck told us that the giraffes are a very curious
they're
breed.
they're very
so
social
they all had to
creatures.
come from across the way to go see what was going on with the zebras, and that just stopped all the trucks.
Well,
from
it was
moving.
so funny because as we sat there, this one zebra was running around screaming, and yeah, our driver told us because they recently had like a little baby, so maybe he was just freaking out over that. But yeah, but as a whole herd, like these 5 giraffes, like together, all come walking over,
with
looking
their heads
around,
up, looking to see
around.
what's going on.
Like, what's happening over here?
It was the most amazing thing, and we were lucky enough to be in the truck that was right in the
Yeah.
middle of it, not the poor people standing all the way back online
right.
wondering why the trucks aren't moving.
And they said, yeah, giraffes are just very social creatures.
Yes,
It's like,
and
you know,
I love watching it.
But I love that idea. Like giraffes, they're just a little gossipy.
Yes,
you know,
little
they wanna
gossipy
know what the
giraffes
gossip
going
is.
over there to see what's going on. I mean, you know, seeing a young elephant when we pass it. I mean, just seeing everything up close, just knowing that. I mean, it's just so amazing to me. And you know, they do give you a lot of history on the ride too. When you're riding, they'll
yeah,
tell
like
you
the
about the
animals
animals.
and
They'll
the
give
lands,
you,
yeah,
they'll
the
tell you
different
all about the,
habitats.
you know, the different lands and what the animals are and the details behind them. And my favorite of all the 4 Disney parks, that is my favorite.
Yeah, for sure. No, and I knew that was definitely coming because again, if you remember from our Hollywood Studios episode, my favorite ride is Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, but of course, Kilimanjaro Safari is my mom's. And I will also say too, with that time we were just talking about with the zebras running around and the giraffes, that is actually in a Disney vlog that I have on my YouTube channel. So if you want to head over to the YouTube channel, you can rewatch that vlog where I filmed the whole thing. So I realized I haven't really promoted my YouTube channel on the podcast yet, but I do have a YouTube channel where I vlog our Disney vacations. I only started vlogging back in 2019, so you can kind of go back and relive some of the memories that we had when we were in Disney World. So that is linked in our little link tree in the description below the YouTube channel. But I will also link that specific vlog with the animals that day just in this description if you just want to go check out that vlog, because it was a really interesting safari that day. So
One of the interesting ones, I don't think you were with us, but Dad and I were on it, and the lion actually stood up and roared
Yeah.
while we were on the safari. We were going past him, and he actually roared as we went by. That that was amazing to hear a lion roar right up close. It
Yeah.
was just an amazing experience.
Yeah, for sure. So if you're ever able to go, definitely go to safari. However, a few tips for you. I would say try not to go too much in the afternoon.
No, better in the morning.
Yeah, a lot of the animals tend to go, like many animals in general, tend to go take their little afternoon naps. So if you go in the afternoon, you may not see as many animals up about walking around, especially in the Florida heat. It is very hot. Obviously, the ride is fully outdoors. So you were hot as well. So,
Yes.
you're hot, the animals are hot. So just kind of keep that in mind. The morning is definitely the better times to go. I know they also used to do an evening safari as well. I know some people love the evening safaris. However, we did not have very good experience on our evening safari. We only did it once. But similar to the afternoon, there were no animals out that day.
They weren't out as much.
Yeah, but I know other people have had different experiences with the evening safaris. I also know that I don't even think they're currently doing evening safaris anyway, because
Yeah, I
I
don't
think
know.
they're doing it just right before sundown. They used to do the safaris like right at sundown,
On
a little bit after sundown,
yeah.
but I think they've have since after COVID they've stopped that. But yeah, but I definitely suggest the best time to do it is in the mornings. It's one, it's a lot cooler just in the weather. Two, the animals are all up, out and about, getting ready for the day. So we definitely suggest that. And I would also say too, if you get stuck on the line, so we have gotten stuck on Kilimanjaro Safari's line quite a few times now. What is going to happen, and what we have experienced this twice now, which is why I feel a bit more confident in saying that, is that if the line or if the ride breaks down, for instance, if like the trucks break down, or for instance, if the animals are really, holding up, on the
Holding
ride
things
itself,
up, right.
what they will often do, or I guess I shouldn't say often, what they will sometimes do is that they will clear out the whole line before they reopen it back up. So what I mean by that is that if you're waiting online, you've been waiting an hour. It said it was only going to be maybe an hour, and you've been waiting that hour. The line has not moved in 20 minutes. You're like, should we give up? Should we leave? Should we stay? My suggestion is to stay and just to try to wait it out as long as you can, because what will happen is that when they do reopen up the back of the ride, they will clear out all of the lightning lane people, so they'll get them onto their trucks. Then they are going to clear out the entire standby line. So that means they would have closed the line to the outside of the park so that new people weren't joining the line. They would clear out that entire standby line, and then once that standby line is cleared out, that means they will then reopen the lines to anyone else who wants to go on the ride, and then they just reopen it for the rest of the day. And the reason why I say that is because when that line does start moving, you basically walk then right onto the line, you just waited an hour and a half to 2 hours on line sitting there doing nothing. But it just means that you will get on the ride, and you won't have to wait for instance all the lightning lane people to get on before you. They cut off the lines to make sure everyone gets on. So I say if you're able to wait it out, wait it out. If you've got reservations to go to or something else, obviously leave if you need to. I will say though, if someone in your party does need to like go use the restroom or something like that and then come back into the line, you are allowed to do that. Of course, my dad did do that, although he actually went and got a cup of coffee. Then he came back. So, but yeah.
One with the least patience.
Yes, and he had given up too. Like he was like, I'm
He's like,
leaving.
forget it. I'm not
leaving.
going on this.
Then finally he left, and then I kid you not, 5 minutes later, they're like, all right, it's back up. And then again, they did the same thing. And he said when he was out there, the line was closed off. No one could get on the line. But he told the cast member, my family is currently on the line, so he was allowed through. And then then they cleared out the whole line, then reopened the line back up. Right. So just keep that in mind in case you are trapped on the line. I don't think they do this for any other ride. I haven't seen them do this at any other ride personally. If you have, definitely let us know in the comments on Instagram or send us an email or something, because I would love to know if you've experienced this anywhere else. But yeah, I've only ever experienced
It's happened
it
twice to us on
the safari.
And like I said, this ride, because it is live,
Yeah.
if the animal is too close to the trucks, they don't move.
Yeah, exactly. There's only so much they can do. So
they stop and they wait. And sooner or later, they're going to move. I mean, they're not going to stay there forever.
Yeah.
If they really had to move them, they do have people who are out there in trucks on their own.
Yeah, they kind of guide them.
They kind of herded, like
so.
when we were having the problem with the zebra after a while, they decided they had to do something. So they came out with one of those trucks and herded them off to the side so that they could get the ride moving and stuff.
Yeah.
So
But yeah, awesome. So yeah, that was our top 5 in Animal Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
I love Animal Kingdom so much. One of my favorite parks. So I say one of my favorite parks as if I dislike any of the parks.
I know. Well,
I love all the parks.
Yeah, my least favorite is Hollywood Studios, obviously. But
yeah, and I'll say, of course, we didn't talk about any of the shows or anything else like that in Animal Kingdom. We're going
we
to
just
do
did
that.
rides.
Yeah, we're going to do that in a separate podcast. I forgot to mention that in the beginning. This was rides only.
Yeah, because there are a lot of experiences in Animal Kingdom.
Yeah, in a separate podcast, we'll talk about like rides, restaurants, food, things like that. Right. So we'll go over all that another time, because this podcast would be many hours long if we decide to do it all in one. So that's why we're focusing just on the rides. So yeah, all right, do you want ready for some Disney news?
Go ahead.
So all right, so this is a slightly pre-recorded episode, so just keep that in mind. So I apologize for the pre-recordedness. So some of this Disney news is not as fresh as other episodes. So Disney recently announced a new app that they will be launching later this year for both Disney Plus and Hulu. So if you're paying for the tier of Disney Plus where you also have Hulu included in your subscription, there's going to be a new app where you can access both of the channels, so to speak, in one app. So as of right now, of course, if you want to watch something on Disney Plus, you got to go to Disney Plus. Hulu, you got to go to Hulu. So I guess that would be kind of convenient because sometimes it is annoying to like log in or log out, or if you forget your password to Hulu or something like that. I also often forget that we have access to Hulu because we have Disney Plus, because I don't really watch anything on Hulu. But yeah, I mean, like, I guess if it's right in front of your face, Hulu will receive more attention, than just Disney Plus. In other news, the Cinderella castle is slowly being painted back to its original blue and gray coloring. So the pink castle is slowly being taken down, which is a bit sad. I did really love the pink iridescent look. However, if you are able to go to Disneyland Paris, the Sleeping Beauty castle in Disneyland Paris is a pink castle. So I would definitely say if you're missing the pink castle, try to make your way over to Disneyland Paris. They have a beautiful, beautiful pink castle there that's a permanent pink. So I will say, though, I do miss the blue and gray Cinderella castle personally. I love the pink Cinderella castle, but I love the blue and gray one too. So I'm looking forward to seeing that again. There is also a new Dole Whip flight at Swirls on the Water in Disney Springs. So if you are, if you are a big Dole Whip fan, make sure to head over there to make sure you get your little Dole Whip flight. I feel like flights in general are becoming more popular as time goes on, because I feel like there only ever used to be beer flights, and then people were doing like wine flights, and now there's been flights for everything.
I
Ice
had a
cream
Bloody Mary
flights.
flight at the Polynesian.
Right? That ice cream flights, like there's flights for everything these days.
Yeah.
We went out to a brunch the other day, and they had a French toast flight of their 3 most popular French toasts. So, but yeah, I like the idea of flights. You get a little taste of
everything. And I'm not even a big Dole Whip fan, but that Dole Whip looked really good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, now that none of us are really big Dole Whip fans,
but it looks good.
But yeah, so they're kind of fun too. So if you want to go do that. And then our last little bit of Disney news, my mom and I were actually talking about this earlier today, but that the Epcot Japan Pavilion will soon host a new eatery. It is going to be called, and I apologize for butchering this Japanese name, Shiki Sai Sushi Izakaya. And this will be a festive dining experience in a shareable izakaya style. Again, I'm sure I'm saying that incorrectly, so I do apologize. This is actually going to replace Tokyo Dining. So I didn't realize I was fully replacing Tokyo Dining. And Tokyo Dining is closing this upcoming November. So November 2023, Tokyo Dining will be closing. And again, this Sushi Izakaya will be opening up. I wonder how long that will take. If you're wondering what the Izakaya style is, it literally translated to English, it means dine-in sake shop. So I'm just taking this from Google right now. It's an informal affair where you order drinks alongside small dishes of food. It is all about eating, drinking, and being merry in a very Japanese type of style. And this is often where a place where people will meet up and coworkers will get together. There's a few things when I Googled it of people asking what is the difference between izakaya and a bar, since I think it's similar to a bar. But I think it kind of reminds me of tapas.
Tapas, that was the first thing I thought of when you started talking about it.
Yep, so the food, tapas. I think, from what my understanding, I believe, and I'm assuming the food is just going to come out just as you order it in a very shareable style. So very exciting if you're into, that type of, food eating experience, especially if you love Japanese food. I will say, in my personal opinion, tapas is actually my least favorite dining type of experience. The main reason being is that whenever I go out to eat and all the dishes are shareable with amongst others, I tend to be a very picky eater. So I don't always want to share the food I want to eat, nor am I going to eat everything on the table, especially since I'm a vegetarian. So often a lot of dishes with others usually will have meat in it, which means the 1 or 2 dishes I order that are vegetarian, not only am I sharing with everyone else, but I cannot eat the other dishes. Right. So the few times I've done tapas, which is usually with Spanish style or Mexican style food, I've realized I'm not a big tapas eater. So I'm not sure if we will be visiting this restaurant when it does open. I guess, I don't know, maybe we'll think about it. But also, no one in our family are big, well, I say no one. My dad and my brother like sushi. My mom and I, we do not eat sushi. So we're not, the two of us, we're not big sushi eaters. So we won't even be going for the sushi.
Won't be making my top 5.
Like yeah. But my dad and my brother do love sushi.
That could make their top 5, but not mine.
Perhaps. And Ted doesn't eat sushi either. So so just my dad and my brother perhaps would like this. But they can get sushi at the quick service in Tokyo if they really wanted sushi. So but that's super exciting. So just a little bit of Disney news there. All right, and now on to our Disney birthdays. So this week, Winnie the Pooh's birthday is on May 25th.
I love Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, so happy birthday to Winnie the Pooh. So excited for Pooh. And we were talking about this the other day too, but I feel like Pooh Bear has had a huge resurgence the last year or so. I feel like you see him everywhere now. You see merchandise for him is everywhere. Snacks for him are everywhere.
Yes.
And I wondered if it was because that Christopher Robin movie came out a few years ago that helped with the resurgence. But I feel like recently he really is, like, everyone's talking about him, everyone's loving him, which I mean, like, rightly so. He's a great character. He's some great movies and TV shows, great books. But it's just kind of funny how I feel like there was a little bit lull for a few years there, and now he's back in full force. So lots of Winnie the Pooh. All right, and that brings us here to our final segment, which is our Disney memory. So I know we talked about a few Disney memories already, but did you have a Disney memory in mind?
I know, that's the toughest thing. When I had to think about my memory before we started the podcast, it was Pandora, because Pandora was one of those rides that I was like, okay, I'll go on it. I don't know. Maybe I won't like it.
She's saying this. She was at adamantly saying, I don't want to go on that ride. I'm not going to like this ride. All
Yes.
this stuff. I don't even like Pandora. Adamantly saying this.
I
And
said,
then
"Why
me
am
and
I
my
going on
dad
this ride?"
dragging her onto
Right,
this
and I remember
ride.
getting on that ride and got off and said, "Oh my God, this is like my favorite." I couldn't believe it. And like I said, going under that wave was so amazing to me that I got off and said, wow. And that's a memory for me, like a really strong memory. Because like I said, I've got so many memories from Animal Kingdom, so many memories from all the parks. But that was the memory that I thought of when you said, well, what's going to be the memory going to be? And I said, oh, I'm going to talk about the fact that I didn't want to go on that ride.
Yeah, she was so adamant.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we finally dragged her, kicking and screaming onto this ride, she absolutely loved it.
Yes.
I thought that was so funny.
Well, because I was worried about getting sick,
Yeah,
first of
yeah.
all. And second of all, I had no want to see Avatar. So it did nothing, absolutely nothing for me. So I didn't have any really want to go on it. But I have to tell you, take it from somebody who didn't think it was going to be great. And I really, really enjoyed it.
Do you think you'll ever watch the movies?
No.
Yeah, the movies are a bit
No,
long.
I still don't want to watch the movie.
I'll say the movies are good. I do think both movies are decent.
Yeah.
I think when you go into the movies, you're going to watch the movie for the special effects at the end of the day. You're not going
Well,
to
I
watch
think
for
the
the plot.
special effects, even in one of the times we stayed, we actually, not the last vacation, but the one before, I actually planned it. We always go to Animal Kingdom early. We go to Animal Kingdom early, hit the Kilimanjaro safaris early, because as we said, we know, that we want to see as many animals as possible, and that's the best time to do it. So we would go there and hit that first and try to get that through, and then do what we have to do. But one of the vacations, I said, oh, we're going to go in the afternoon. And that's how we found out that the safari is not worth it in the afternoon, because I want to see Pandora at night. I want to see Animal Kingdom at night. I want to see things lit up at night. So we went at night, and what we did is we did our little thing. And, you walk through Animal Kingdom at night, and it is very, very interesting because of the lighting and the different lights and the different
Animal Kingdom is beautiful at night.
sections. Yes, very, very beautiful. But I wanted to see Pandora at night, because when you walk through Pandora during the day, you see all the detail, you see all the trees, you see all the effects.
Yeah, but there's a lot of like that bioluminescence type
Yes,
of
you don't
lighting.
get that effect until
Yeah.
you walk through there when it's dark. So we did. We walked through, and we did
was
that
lovely.
once just
Yeah.
to make sure that, we got to see it. And it was impressive.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So that was my memory.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a good one, because again, I do remember that, like dragging her on and then her being like, "This is amazing." I mean, just kind of laughing, because it's like I'm sure she had to do that a lot when I was a kid, where I would always like,
Yes,
"I don't wanna
a
do
lot.
this," and then I'd be like,
don't want to
"This
go,
is
don't want to go.
amazing."
Do I have to leave?
I know, yeah. I was an annoying child sometimes. All right, so for my Disney memory, this is a bit silly one, but I remember one time my parents and my family, they went to get some of these egg rolls at the Yak and Yeti quick service, and the egg rolls only had meat in them, so I was not able to get one, sadly. I hope they ever come out with a veggie spring roll or egg roll in the future, because I do love egg rolls so much. Yeah, but they were all getting egg rolls and some rice, and so for my snack, I wanted to get popcorn. In Animal Kingdom, there are very few spots to get fresh popcorn, so when you go to the popcorn stands, they're all going to be the pre-boxed popcorn in that red and white little box. But if you want the fresh popcorn, again, there's only a few stands. The easiest stand that I usually get it from, that also usually sells the popcorn buckets as well, so like the Simba popcorn bucket, is in Africa. So when you get to Harambe Square, it's sort of on the corner of Africa, sort of by, I forget what that restaurant's called.
Tusker House.
Is that Tusker House
Tusker
right
House,
there?
I think it's Tusker House.
So it's on the corner of near where Tusker House is, but it's sort of in that area. It's hard to describe just through words without looking at a map. But essentially, I went over there by myself. I got my popcorn, and then I think after that we were going to go on Kilimanjaro Safari. So then I was waiting in a little area for them to come catch up with me, because they were going to sit there, eat their egg rolls, and then walk to come meet me. As I was sitting there, I sort of sat by myself, sort of like under a tree, and I felt a bird poop on me. And I looked over, and a bird had pooped on me on my shoulder, and I was like, oh my gosh, I think a bird just pooped on me. And I remember I said that out loud as I was eating my popcorn. I was like, oh my gosh, a bird just pooped on me. So I had some napkins on me just, to wipe my hands from the popcorn grease. But yeah, so I wiped the poop off, and I moved to a different table, slightly just over, because the area was kind of empty. This was right where they sell the fresh fruit, sort of right by in the front of Kilimanjaro Safaris, and another bird pooped on me on my leg. And I was like,
Maybe it was the same bird.
I know, but I was like, within like a minute, two birds or one bird pooped on me twice. So within minutes, it was wild. And I was so shocked. So I was like, oh my gosh, like, is that poop again? Because the second time was kind of like clear, so I wasn't really sure. But I was like, it's definitely not tree sap. So I was like, all right, this is very strange. And then I didn't know where to go afterwards, because I'm like, well, there's trees everywhere in Animal Kingdom. It's not like, like
There's
Toy
away
Story
from
Land
it.
in Hollywood
Yeah.
Studios where there's no trees. Like, there's trees everywhere. So I'm like, all right. And then I make at that point too, I was still eating my popcorn. It's like, well, like, I'm glad I didn't poop in my popcorn.
Right.
So,
That would have been tough.
or on my clothing. It was only on my skin, like on my kind of my shoulder and on my leg. But yeah, I cannot believe I got pooped on twice within like minutes of each other eating my little popcorn. But yeah, we'll never forget that because I thought that was really funny.
Silly little things stick in your memory.
Yeah, and there was no one there to even witness it because I was just sitting there by myself. So, but yeah, definitely wild though. So that's also one of those things too to keep in mind is that Animal Kingdom, obviously there's going to be the Florida animals, so to speak, like, you know, the Florida
wild animals that live in Florida.
Yeah, you know, like the Florida birds, the Florida snakes, you know, things like that. And
Spiders.
Then, and then there's the Disney animals who are kind of kept by Disney. So, you know, you're never going to escape the Florida wildlife.
It is a very natural park.
No, for sure. But Ari, thank you so much for listening to the Mother-Daughter Disney podcast today. Remember to follow us on all social media. We are Spaceship Earth Design. I will also have it linked in the description below. Also, make sure to give us a review wherever you are currently listening to the podcast, whether that be Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And again, you can listen to our podcast on any platform. I also wanted to note too, we are available on YouTube as well. I don't think I said that in the past, but yeah, if you do want to listen to a podcast on YouTube, it is on YouTube. This, of course, is not a video-based podcast. We are audio only, so you would just, you know, see a kind of a screen. But yes, but we're on YouTube now too, so I thought I'd just kind of point that out that our podcast is available on YouTube. And yeah, let us know what your favorite ride is in Animal Kingdom. Was it Kali River Rapids? We didn't even talk about that ride. So yeah, that is not within my top 5. Although I will say I do like Kali River Rapids. I just don't like getting wet on rides. So it's similar to Splash Mountain. I do like Splash Mountain. I just don't want to get wet on a ride is all it comes down to at the end of the day. But yeah, is that your number 1 ride? Let us know. So yeah, let us know whatever your favorite rides are. And yeah, next week, I'm super excited for next week's episode because we're going to be doing our first movie review. My mom and I have already bought our tickets to see The Little Mermaid in theaters. So yes, next week we'll be doing a movie review of Little Mermaid. So super excited for that. Yeah, very awesome. Thanks so much for listening, everyone.
Okay, bye.